We made it to episode 3. So,
Woo!
yeah, it's amazing, right? So I'm super tired today, so there's going to be no intro. And we're going to go right into questions. But first, I know, Mark, you said you want to touch on a couple things from the last episode, right?
Yeah. After listening to our podcast, there was a couple of things. One of them was open mics. We had talked about when somebody says something they're not supposed to. I think we gave an example of Ed cursing over the radio during a chase. But it's so funny when you hear officers saying stuff they're not supposed to because they have an open mic, whether it's open mic in the car or on their belt. You hear everybody else keying up. All you hear is bzz, bzz, bzz. Everybody's keying up trying to go over it. I remember we had a sergeant once. I don't know if Ed remembers, but there was a lady that climbed over a fence at a construction site, and the guy said he was right underneath her looking up at her, and she had a short dress on. And the sergeant said, "Oh, did you get a look-see?" And all of a sudden you hear bzz, bzz. Everybody's keying up trying to drown them out.
Well, it's all your friends trying to mute
Right.
you. Or the
Yeah, I think
dispatcher
Ed-
saying, last unit.
Yeah, when you have an open mic, it's you kind of hold your breath wondering what's going to be said. And then also last week, 5150s, I get asked when we could 5150 people. It's basically if danger to themselves or others. I mean, if somebody's standing in the middle of a park screaming that they're Jesus or an alien, it doesn't qualify as a 5150 because they're not a danger to themselves or others. But if someone's standing on the ledge of a freeway overpass or running in and out of traffic screaming the same thing, then they become a danger to themselves or others. We had several in our city who were weekly or even nightly contacts. I'm sure Ed remembers this one without mentioning his name on the air. We had an ex-Raider football player that would occasionally lose it and get violent inside of his home, threatening others, destroying walls, first furniture, and he loved to fight the police when we showed up. And being a danger to himself or others, he'd be 5150, but when we heard his name in the call, it was an automatic 3 or 4 officer response. And we had another one Ed probably remembers. He'd wander the streets shadowboxing, and when he was off his meds, he threatened people and become violent. He put a few cops in the hospital, and that was another minimum 3 officer response, and they were frequently 5150. But then there's
was that the fellow that wound up was that the one that wound up dying selling wax instead of crack cocaine?
Yes. Yeah. It seems like these guys live forever until something happens.
Right.
And then there's the ones that see aliens, ghosts, monsters, and they seem totally out of it, but they're not a danger to themselves or others. So we just evaluate them and move on to the next call.
I was going to say, I don't even see a problem with that.
It was always an automatic 5150 for people that attempted to hurt or kill themselves or even just stated they wanted to. But county hospital, it was like a revolving door. I'd 5150 someone threatening to kill himself, but at the hospital, they'd deny saying it, and then they'd be released within an hour or two. Many times I'd be sitting in my patrol car writing reports, and I'd see someone wander in the streets again that I had just 5150'd a few hours earlier. So it's kind of crazy. Bottom line is, if they're a threat to themselves or others, that's the criteria for 5150. But if they're just like seeing things and they're not a danger at all, that it doesn't meet the criteria.
And that would be almost the same with the domestic violence, where you take the guy to jail, and before you get back to starting your face page, he's already bailed out by the wife.
Right. And then on the 50s, don't they get reevaluated at the jail, right?
Hello? Oh no, I 5150s was just to get him out of our hair on the street.
No, I'm saying in general, right? So you 5150 somebody, you make the call on the street, you bring them in, they get evaluated by medical personnel, and then whatever happens from there.
It's a whole different thing down here in this particular state. It's a completely different set of circumstances. But back in the day, you'd 5150 them, and the ambulance would take them straight to county hospital.
Right, and then they get evaluated there.
Right. Usually kicked out the door before you do anything else.
Because cops aren't doctors.
Right.
And then a couple of current crime trends. I'm seeing a lot more of jewelry swaps or grabs. It's increasing. It seems like there's a band of people going around, and they try to befriend you. They get close to you, and there's a certain ethnic group that claims that they could heal you and give you happiness, and they'll reach around and say, I'm giving you this necklace for peace, and they go to put a necklace on you, but what you don't realize is they unhook yours and steal yours, leaving the other one there. or they just come up and befriend you and get close enough to you to yank the chain off your neck. But I'm seeing a big increase of that around here. I don't know if that's happening in Arizona, Ed.
No, I don't hear anything like that. We're getting a lot of stuff with this online social media, kids with face or masks on, running in and out of stores doing snatch and grabs with masks on. So, but nothing like that where they're getting up close and personal and taking necklaces off your neck and putting one on.
Right.
Yeah, I like my personal space. They won't get mine.
Yeah, exactly. Bottom line is don't trust anybody and don't let them get close to you.
Yeah, that's good life, that's just good for life in general. Don't let anybody get close to you.
Ever. And then stolen vehicles is still a major problem, especially around here, California. And I mean, just the city right near me has a huge problem with stolen vehicles. And it used to just be old Toyotas, Hondas, or Kias, but now it's Infinitis, Chargers, Challengers, Camaros, even a couple of Corvettes. But they like the rear-wheel drive cars so they could do sideshows. There's a lot of stolen Infinitis in our area that are used to commit other crimes. Somehow they found a way to disable the security system and start the cars remotely. Some of them have devices that steal the key fob frequencies. They could go up to your front door, and if your keys are stored by the front door, they could steal the frequency. Others, they get the VIN from your dash and somehow program a key fob to steal it. Basically, if you could do it, park in a garage, get a steering wheel club as a deterrent, a remote kill or fuel cutoff switch. Better yet, hide a couple of air tags or two inside your car.
We had a case down here recently where these guys were stealing high-end pickup trucks, Chevy Silverados with the whatever package they get, the mountain package or something. And one guy was staying guard at the door with an AK. The other guy was stealing the key fob code in midair and being able to start the truck and drive it right out of the driveway. And they said that in one of those particular cases, which caused me to buy one, was if you put your key fob in a Faraday bag, it blocks the signal completely so they can't steal it between your key fob and the car. So, and I tested it myself and it actually works because before I used to put it inside my gun safe and I could actually hit the key fob in the gun safe and it would activate the doors or start the truck. But as soon as I put it in the Faraday bag, signal completely dead. So that's one avenue.
Did you buy that the same time you bought your foil hat?
No,
yeah, exactly. But no, in all honesty, it does work.
Yeah. Just wear the bag on your head, man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my thoughts to myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, stolen vehicles are usually often used to commit other crimes or destroyed in sideshows, or a lot of it around here, especially in Oakland, they're used to crash open the doors or walls of commercial buildings to burglarize it. And then they always flee from police driving recklessly. It presents a danger to everybody else. If equipped, OnStar is a great tool. OnStar can lock, unlock doors, slow or stop a car. I remember one call we went to, we chased a stolen vehicle into a neighborhood onto a court, and we blocked off the court. And then we went in on foot, and we could not find the car anywhere. So I had OnStar activate the horn, and sure enough, there's the horn honking inside of a closed garage. We went up there and found the guy inside the house. But that was always fun. And bait cars. Whatever happened to bait cars?
Oh, they're still out there.
I used to love watching that, where the suspects would get in a bait car and then start to drive away, and they'd shut the car off and lock the doors and the windows, and then they had a little camera inside. I love seeing the look on the people's faces that get trapped in their cars.
Yeah, there's some departments are using them. I'm pretty sure Highway Patrol uses them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with the criminal justice system, though, everybody that gets arrested, it seems like everybody is already on probation, parole, supervised release. There's no deterrent. Prison should be somewhere you never want to go back to, but it seems like it's just a way of life. Arrest, jail, release, repeat.
Yeah.
Well, you got to look at the other aspect too. They go into jail and they get medical treatment, get their teeth fixed and all that. When I worked in the jail for a couple of years, that was the first thing they do on the Oakland sector. They'd come in, they'd be high-fiving everybody ain't seen in a while. And, oh, yeah, I got to get my teeth fixed. They're in for 30 days, and then they hit the streets again running.
I need my vacation sandwich.
I remember one guy, it was raining outside, and I was parked across the street from a liquor store in a report underneath an overhang. And some guy walks up to me. He goes, "Hey, take me to jail." I go, "What?" Just take me to jail. It's raining out here. It's cold. I'm hungry. I said, "Get out of here." He ran across the street to the liquor store, comes out with an armful of liquor with the store guy, the owner chasing him, and he runs up to me. He goes, "There, I just stole stuff. Take me to jail."
All for a meal.
Want to go to jail?
Right?
Yeah, we had a guy in the town do bank robbery like that one time.
Crazy.
It gets them fed, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
If you're starving on the street,
fed, medical, they see their friends. It's like a mini vacation.
And if they're a first-time offender, they're probably out in about 15 minutes anyway. So,
yeah.
All
right. Well, I guess we can get into the questions. Brent's got some pretty good questions.
Let's dig into these questions. So, question 1, question about ATVs and street use. So, hello, my name is Gabe. I'm from Arizona, and I've been looking up if you need a motorcycle license or a driver's license to operate a street legal ATV, and I don't know which one is right. So my question is, do you need either or both, or do you just need a normal driver's license or a motorcycle license? I'm just confused. Well, first off, here, I've never heard of a street legal ATV, so that's a whole different thing. But yeah, what do you guys got on that?
They are street legal here in Arizona, provided you have a license plate on them.
There you go.
Yeah, so I mean, I can ride my side-by-side down the street, and usually you don't get stopped unless you're breaking the law like somebody else is.
Is there any rules in Arizona?
Well, there's a couple, like this kid here, or I shouldn't call him a kid, but this young man here is going to need a regular license, whether it be motorcycle endorsed or a regular driver's license, to operate any motor vehicle on the highway at 16 years plus.
But no motorcycle, no motor.
Well, he can get one, but you don't need one to ride an ATV or side by side. Now, however, if you're on a dirt bike that's street legal, you're going to need a motorcycle endorsement.
So 2 wheels versus 4.
Yeah, exactly. 2, 3 wheel and up is considered ATV on the 4 wheels.
Wow, that's nice.
I think you have to have insurance too, don't you, Ed?
You're supposed to, yeah.
You have to have liability insurance.
Yeah, exactly. And then the code section here for it is Arizona Revised Statutes, which we refer to as ARS 8-315, which covers everything as far as driving is concerned, what you need. In his case, he'll need from 16 on, explains the entire section to him, what he's going to need, etc., and how old you got to be, who's going to get cited, mom or dad, if you don't have a license, and all that kind of stuff.
I just read something too. It says safety course requirements starting 2025. As of January 1st, 2025, at least one owner of the vehicle must complete a free OHV decal, safe and ethical riding in Arizona. Did you get yours, Ed?
Yeah, I took it online and passed. It's basically it's what nobody seems to have anymore is common sense, courtesy.
Right.
Yeah, that's illegal.
Yeah, do you stay on the beaten path, the regular trail that's already there, or do you jump off and tear up a bunch of cactus and all that kind of stuff? Yes or no?
I'm going with B.
Yeah.
No, that's wrong, right? Okay, so
yeah, tear up all the cactus and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
we had pretty straightforward common sense, and unfortunately, it's blown up so bad down here, the off-road riding, that going on the weekends is almost kind of a take it at your own risk type thing, as people are just driving crazy.
Yeah, do they mandate flags and do all that stuff on those too?
Not so much like California does at Glamis, where you got to have a flag on it. But
dunes,
people that are extremely safe here will have flags on there. So if you're behind a little small hill or something, they might have a chance to see you before they run into you.
Right before they run you over.
Exactly. Yeah, that's Glamis is so. Never mind. That's a whole nother topic.
Well, those and dunes are crazy, right? Because people jump over them and then they land on you. Oh my gosh.
Saw one of my buddy's kids almost get run over from behind, and there was nothing he could do or I could do. And by the grace of whomever was watching out for his son, he didn't get killed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's enough for me. I'm done. No more for Glamis, and I haven't been there since.
That's craziness. People are insane. Plus, none of them drink when they do that. So
yeah. In this case, it almost ran his kid over. They were like 13, 14 years old. They just had a full throttle, bouncing through the dunes and completely out of control. Nice. And I don't know what kept them from running this guy's son over, but I was like, OMG. I'm like, how the hell, how do you even begin to explain that? They're just going buck wild out there.
Not have 13-year-olds behind 800 horsepower quads, right?
Exactly.
All right. So on to number 2, unless you guys have anything else on that one.
Nope.
All right. Number 2, knife as a tool. I have a large knife, like the one in the 2003 movie, The Hunted, when the soldier goes nuts. Anyways, can I carry that as a side piece in a sheath? And I would assume this is like a fixed blade. So this is a very substantial knife, fixed blade, probably like 12 inches long. I see people carry their pistols like that, so why not this? Is it against the law if it's in a sheath? I live in Texas. Well, then the answer is no, it's not against the law because there's no laws.
Yeah, everything's legal in Texas. But I did look up the law for it, and it says in Texas it's generally legal to carry any knife, including switchblades and long knives, anywhere in the state for most people, which no way in California, thanks to a 2017 law that eliminated illegal knives from state statute. The main restrictions apply to location-restricted knives, defined as those with blades longer than 5.5 inches, which are prohibited in certain areas like schools, courthouses, polling places, airports. Individuals under 18 years of age are prohibited from carrying location-restricted knives, even on their own. So basically, it's legal unless you're in a restricted area, and then you can't have anything over 5.5 inches.
Yeah, I wouldn't go whipping that out, like in the middle of this grocery store.
Right.
But, I mean, it's different here. That's way out of legal length, right? So fixed blade length is, I think it's 3.5 or less. So
yeah, I couldn't believe when I looked it up and it said even switchblades and long knives anywhere in the state is legal.
Yeah, I think there's literally more knife rules in California than there are gun rules. It's truly insane.
Yeah.
You have anything, Ed? You carry around like your hunted knife all the time?
No, I just carry a little small pocket knife at best.
Yeah, that's all I carry. Like
3.5 inch blade.
He carries around his AR-15 with a little tiny pocket knife.
Like with the pocket knife as a bayonet or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. So you're like Swiss Army dude?
Huh? Like you'd open up a can or something.
That's just, you're like, can you open my can opener? Okay, so for whoever asked that question, there's your answer. You can be just like in the movie The Hunted. Just owner beware, and cops will probably ask you questions.
Although that would be a great deterrent.
Yeah.
Probably get less people messing with you when they see that huge thing on your head.
Yeah, or just carry a sword. I mean, why not? Question 3. How long... Oh, another knife question. So how long can a knife be before it's considered a weapon in the state of Nebraska?
Again, I looked it up.
I'm glad you do all the homework.
Yeah, because Ed sees these questions for the first time. He doesn't have any answers, but opinions, yeah. Legal
how long
answer.
can a knife be before it's considered a weapon? 1.5 inches for me, because you get within 20 feet, I'm dropping you.
Why is that? Because you don't bring a gun to a knife fight? Is that why?
Right, exactly.
Well, in Nebraska, unlike Texas, it's illegal to possess any knife that opens by mechanical action, gravity, or inertia, such as switchblades, and it's a Class 1 misdemeanor regardless of the blade length, or even if you have a concealed handgun permit. Other types of knives can be carried openly without restriction, but concealed carry is prohibited unless the knife has a blade of 3.5 inches or less. Additionally, municipal ordinances like those in Omaha and Lincoln and regulations on federal property may impose further restrictions. So basically, whatever city and county you're in, you need to look up the knife laws because it seems like it varies between the municipalities.
Yeah, all the way down to the city itself. So good luck, because knife laws are crazy and they're different everywhere. Hi, let's see. Question 4. Hi, I have a question. Well, that's good. Why do cops never take personal accountability? And best case scenario is that even if they left a person off the hook, if they let a person off the hook, they say that it is a warning and they never say sorry. Like giving a ticket for somebody, I'm not going to read all of this because it basically says like, if you make a mistake as a cop, why do you not say sorry? And I can tell you, I've said sorry. So what do you guys think about this? We'll get to the other portion of the question after that.
Well, the part of the question that they had is using their turn signals. They just flashed it instead of leaving it on. And they thought a cop got mad about that because the cop was trying to pass them. Flashing a turn signal, maybe the officer didn't see it flash once. Or if that's how you use your turn signal, other drivers may not see it and it could lead to an accident. In California, you must use your turn signal when other vehicles may be affected by the movement.
Right.
As for warnings, I don't know, maybe the person who submitted this question would rather have a ticket than a warning. Excuse me, I'm just giving you a warning for running that stop sign at 40 miles an hour, and I'm sorry for pulling you over. I mean, is that what they want to hear?
I don't know.
I'm not going to apologize to someone I pulled over that committed a violation, even if I just give them a warning. I mean, maybe if I detain and handcuff somebody matching the description of a suspect and it's later determined they're not involved, I'd explain the reason and possibly say sorry for the misunderstanding. But as many cars as I pulled over and gave them a warning, I'm not going to apologize for pulling them over because they committed a violation. They ought to be thanking me for just giving them a warning.
And you usually got thanks.
Yes.
I mean, most people would be like, thank you. And honestly, I always found that sometimes warnings work better than tickets. And that person never does anything wrong again because they're too worried they're going to get a ticket the next time.
Mark, when you were still doing traffic, did they require you to give them a warning if you decided not to cite them by department policy?
No, it wasn't department policy. It's just if I pulled over somebody and I decided not to give them a ticket, I just tell them, hey, the reason I pulled you over is this. I'm just going to give you a warning this time. But no, it wasn't required.
Yeah, here these poor guys have to write a physical warning citation to you with the code section, and then you got to sign that and say you accepted it as it was a physical warning. So you have some documentation of the traffic stop and interaction between yourself and the driver.
Like a CYA thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, I retired 7 years ago, so unless things have changed, there was no, if you pulled the car over and gave a warning, there was no paper, there was no nothing.
Right.
And I mean, I guess if you do it on the radio, at least there's that, right?
And in my opinion, if you're going to have to put pen to paper, you might as well write a ticket.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you got body cams too.
Right. Yep.
So anyway.
Well, so I guess the moral of the story is hope you get a warning, not a ticket. So question number 5, why do the U.S. police perform traffic stops selectively based on norms more than based on the law? Which, if based on the law, should be strictly enforced all the time, like going 70 miles an hour at night on a stretch of the highway that is 55 when 70 miles an hour and even faster is the norm in the daytime on that same stretch of highway, and even other police cars on a daily basis drive faster than 55. So why follow the rules? Why not use the norms? Why do you stop people select?
Well, I would say at nighttime, more drivers are possibly impaired, which leads to accidents. During the day, if the flow of traffic is going 65 or 70, you can't pull over every car. And I'd focus on the ones that are driving recklessly, like over 70 or unsafe lane changes, tailgating, whatever. I mean, here in California, if you drive below 70 on the highways, you're going to get run over from behind.
This is true.
And also, police are far more busier during the day responding to calls and accidents, and they can't pull over every car they see. Sometimes police departments and the highway patrol have targeted enforcement in areas with high complaints of speed or accidents. And when they have those special enforcements, usually it's a zero tolerance. So there's usually not many warnings on those.
Yeah, everybody gets written. That's why they just brought out all the Durangos in California just for this. I think they were citing it as saying it's like people are driving like they're in video games, right? They're trying to just bust through traffic, split things, go on the shoulders, and these guys are out there just doing that enforcement.
Yeah.
So watch out for those people, because those
when I'm on the freeway out here, I mean, it seems like the normal speed is 70, 75. Easy. And you come up on a car going the speed limit, you almost rear end them. And then you still have the ones that are blowing by the fast lane, probably going 95 or 100.
Well, and that's why all the guys that I know that work highway patrol stuff, they need no excuse to go write people tickets. There's always somebody doing 100. Yeah, so it's just get on the freeway and then look for the fastest person and then go give them the ticket, right? So the other one is, at least here now, is toll lane violations, which is big bucks.
Hey, does the vehicle code still make it so over 100 is a misdemeanor in California?
I think it's reckless, right?
Is it reckless, or is it considered a misdemeanor?
They just lowered it, but I would have to look it up.
Yeah, geez, because down here, just so you know, anything over 85 miles per hour is an arrestable offense.
Wow.
And 20 miles per hour over the posted speed limit. So if it says 55 and you're going 76, you've entered into a misdemeanor, technically arrestable event. So it's a lot different down here. Whereas last I recall, if I remember the vehicle code, it was over 100. It became a misdemeanor. But down here, they'll nail you at 85 and tow your car for 30 days.
Well, thanks for warning me, Ed, when I come down to visit you. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Keep your speed. Keep your on 83.
Our freeways in California would be empty with everybody that got arrested.
You run out of tow trucks.
All the tow lots would be full.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess the summary of that is all sorts of different reasons, right? Also weather, because a lot of people tailgate all the time, all these different things that go into making the decision to pull somebody over.
Well, a couple of funny tales here real quick. Taking patrol cars to a destination for repairs and et cetera, a fully marked patrol car. I've had people on my tail when I'm doing 79 in a 65 because the rest of traffic is going that fast, on my bumper to where I can't even see their headlights in my rearview mirror, and I'm in a marked patrol car and or passing me and not even being worried about being stopped by that particular entity. That's how ridiculous it is down here.
Well, it's the same thing. I had canine training in Los Angeles one time, and I took a marked police car, canine car, and on the freeways, when I got down, well, most of the freeways, and especially I got down near LA, I'd see cars flying up behind me, and they'd see the black and white and the light bar, and they'd slow down and go the same speed as me. But once they got alongside and they saw, where I was from, man, they just took off. Yeah. They knew I wasn't going to pull them over there.
You should have pulled them over.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I get in a pursuit and shots fired.
It's LA, dude. You'd instantly be in a pursuit. And then I would be watching you on TV.
Yeah.
I'm in Los Angeles somewhere.
Man. Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles somewhere. Dispatch last unit? Oh, yeah. I'm not. No way. All right. So, question 6. I've been wanting to get a gel blasting gun that looks like an M82A1 Barrett. That's amazing. But has a few differences. Yeah, like it doesn't shoot 50 caliber rounds. So, like size and color, and was wondering what your standards were. They live in Alberta. I don't want to get shot because of having a toy gun that looks real. That is a good point. Do you always ask for the targets to put down guns first? Targets, not so. Okay. Do you always ask for the targets to put down the guns first? Because if so, then I would, and I could talk to the cop instead of them shooting me. I have many friends who have the same question, since we have an airsoft community and some of us are nervous of accusations when we run around our yards with Nerf guns. Thank you. There's a lot to this question.
Yeah, that's way on.
And I got a story for this one too. So
pay scale.
So airsoft obviously look very real. That's a problem. That's why most people are doing airsoft at, a contained area that's for that. But if you're going to get a gel blasting gun that looks like an M82A1 Barrett, which is about 6 feet long and shoots 50 cal, I'm thinking you probably don't want to just whip that thing out in the middle of public.
Well, if you look, I looked up images of that, and Amazon sells the gel blaster guns. They're not the 6-foot ones, but they look like a sniper rifle. And
not orange or orange tip barrels or anything like that.
Some of them have orange tip barrels, but we all know that some people paint them black or take the orange tips off so they look more
for sure
real. But basically,
I'm looking up what a gel blaster gun is in the first place. I never heard of them.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, Canada has much stricter gun rules than we do even.
Yeah, it's prohibited as replicas if it resembles a real gun. It's defined as any device that closely resembles a real firearm, excluding antique firearms, even if it's incapable of firing lethal projectiles. In Canada, such replicas are classified as prohibited devices, and Alberta generally aligns with federal definitions. Gel blasters may be considered firearms if they shoot projectiles with significant velocity or strongly resemble real guns. Principals within Alberta have enacted local restrictions on the uses and public display of gel blasters. Using them publicly or in ways that cause alarm could lead to charges related to public safety or possession. Well, more importantly, if it looks real and somebody calls in, they're afraid, saying somebody with a gun, and a cop shows up, I mean, if you turn toward the cop with a gun, they're probably going to shoot you. They want to go home to their family at night. And a lot of your BB guns and pellet guns now, they look just like a Glock or a Beretta handgun. And it's just so dangerous to have a realistic looking gun out in public. Not only if you scare somebody, but when the police show up, I mean, they're going to yell at you for drop your weapon. And like I said, if you accidentally turn toward the cop with it pointed toward them, they don't want to feel a bullet before they shoot. So it's just dangerous to have something that realistic looking.
Well, and they're not going to take the time. They're not going to take the time to ask.
No.
What happened is this? Now, obviously, and this is new to me. Paintball guns are now considered gel guns. Or are they different animals?
The gel guns I thought was much more like a Nerf gun, but just shoots gel.
Yeah,
really?
It shoots gel, but they're realistic looking. If you look up M82 gel gun, it looks just like a sniper rifle. Unfortunately, like I said, a lot of people, it's against the law, like in California, to remove or paint over the orange tip, but people do that, so it looks more real.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest issue here is if it's nighttime, all guns look the same. They're just an outline, right?
Exactly.
Doesn't matter if they're orange or pink or purple. So those things, that's a huge issue. We had one here where I was leaving my house. I'd walk out the garage and there's a local PD car just parked out there, and he's unloading all of his less than lethal stuff out of the trunk. And I'm like, and I knew the guy, and I'm like, what is going on? This is a quiet neighborhood. We never have problems. And he's like, somebody called in, said kids were running around the neighborhood with guns. And I'm like, here we go. Right. So exactly the same problem. And they have to look at that as real people running around with real guns, not just kids or whatever. And then you hopefully don't have to do anything. Right. So you find out what's going on. They never found those kids, but he did leave his car parked in front of my house and I couldn't leave.
U.S. federal law requires a blaze orange tip on the muzzle of imitation firearms, including airsoft guns, when they're imported or transported for sale. But once you own it, it doesn't prohibit you from painting it over. But certain states like California, it is illegal to remove or paint over it. But all states on that one is different too.
Right, but there's no rule that says that I can't go buy a real gun and paint it pink or orange or whatever and make it look like a fake gun.
Criminals have done that. They've painted the tip of their gun orange, so if police show up, they're not going to get shot on.
In the place I used to work, we used to use blue guns, right? The training guns for doing sizing up and other stuff in vehicles. And we got robbed. They took all the blue guns, and then they supposedly what they were doing is painting them black and then using them for robberies.
Wow.
I said, well, that's going to get you just as shot as a real gun.
Well, you go into any sporting goods store and you'll see BB guns and pellet guns that look identical to Glocks and Berettas, identical.
Yep.
Unless you measure the little hole that projectile comes out, they look identical, which is really dangerous.
Yeah, don't point guns at cops. It's just a bad. Actually, don't point guns at anybody.
Yeah, because the other guy might have a real gun.
Yeah, or a knife. It'll really mess you up. Let's see. So, okay, question 7. That's a good question. So, I was wondering if people do act so crazy when dealing with law enforcement. I have seen a few YouTube videos that have some insane behavior in them. Is this common, or is this just the internet showing the worst behavior?
Well, let Ed start with that one.
No, you can. You got more experience recently than I do.
Well, it seems more common nowadays. Over the last few years, after the riots and everything, people have just lost respect for law enforcement or authority, and they act stupid or crazy when contacted by the police. We kind of touched on this on our last podcast, but there seems to be a new trend now, people antagonizing or escalating police contacts, some for views or likes, others just because they feel laws don't apply to them. They have no respect for authority. Happens far more often now than people think.
Well, and apparently there's a new trend now where people, just for views on YouTube, are using actors and actresses to portray those crazy people. They shoot the video and then they pawn it off as police law enforcement video. So that's got to be a problem, right? Because then people are getting the wrong idea about people just making stuff up. But I mean, it's the internet. I wouldn't believe any of it.
But Cops used to be a great show. They took it away after the riots and everything, but now they bring it back. Several others too, like there's 24/7 PD. There's a lot of those shows now, And that shows the real thing, and it shows how stupid and crazy people get with police contacts.
Yeah. And people are crazy.
Yeah.
At least some of them. Thankfully, the majority of the public is not, but there are definitely, I've seen some crazy stuff.
So to answer the question, it's not everybody we deal with. Like Brett said, most people are good, but there is quite a share of crazy people out there that we contact.
Well, I mean, in your typical week of work back in the day, how many contacts, like if you were doing traffic, how many people did you pull over for, let's say, a week, and how many people were an actual problem?
I mean, the majority of people were okay, and it depended on the area that I was working at the time too. There's certain areas where there was a lot more disrespect for police than other areas, but you definitely get your share of them when you worked in those bad areas. You know, what the F you pulling me over for?
Just your F license plate that has no F registration.
Because you're driving an effing stolen car.
F. And no, wait, it's not stolen. I know it's your mom's, but it's cool. Yeah, man, all the excuses. It's truly awe-inspiring.
I think the advent too of nice recording devices on phones has upped the ante too, because they think if they're filming you, they got something on you outside of your body cam.
Yeah, be like, I got a camera too.
Yeah, exactly.
We're even. Okay, let's start. All right, so question 9. This is good. I would hope that this is never true, but let's go through this. So if you're on your way to a call and you see someone getting harassed, chased, sexually assaulted, those are pretty big differences, but would you stop for them or call somebody else for it? This is a multi-part question, so we'll start there.
I'd say it depends on the call I'm going to and the type of crime I see. If it's a serious crime, I'd stop and tell dispatch to send another unit to the call I was originally responding to.
Right.
If it was something minor, I may tell the person, hey, wait here, I'm having another car come, and then I'd go on to the call I was going to. It all depends on the types of what you see and the type of call you were responding to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you saw somebody being sexually assaulted, you'd stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because people be going to jail. So, yeah, it's an interesting problem. But, I mean, I've definitely seen, I think it's probably more for traffic accidents, stuff like that on highways. You know, they'll go by because it's a unknown situation that they're going to versus a known situation on the side of the road, send somebody else to that. Or if fire's already there or various different things like that. Is the movie The Rookie generally what it's like being a cop?
And I watch that show. It's a good show, but just like most other police shows, it's really exaggerated. I mean, in 30-minute or an hour show, you'll see them get into shootings. They leave the scene, they go somewhere else and get in fights and other shootings. And I don't know. It's a good show, but it's exaggerated.
That's a TV show and not the movie?
I think they're talking about the TV show.
I never watch cop shows, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's not a bad show, but it's exaggerated.
Well, it would be a pretty boring show for most of the days that I worked. I know that. It'd be like, well, what did you do? Did a lot of patrol, didn't really do anything, tried to do stuff, but there wasn't anything to do. You know, it's like, it just depends on the day, right? Some days
we got paid for what could happen. It's like,
right.
You could have 90% boredom and all of a sudden the 10% adrenaline off the hook kind of stuff. Those shows, they don't show the boring part of it really. They want the ratings, so they show, your chases and shootings and wrecks and whatnot.
It would be 10 minutes of fun, of interesting stuff, and 8 hours of complete and utter boredom.
Yeah.
And if you're in the fire department, it's 24 hours of boredom sometimes. So it's just.
How about you, Ed? Have you seen the show The Rookie?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Good thing I answered that question then.
Yeah.
And I guess that leads into the next part of the question. Do you actually call a police car a shop? Because on that show, they always say, hey, go load up the shop or unload the shop or whatnot. But in my 30 years as a cop, I never called my patrol car a shop. Maybe some do, but I never did.
25.
Yeah, it might be a jurisdictional thing.
Where's the show based out of?
LA.
Do we know? Oh, yeah. Who knows?
It shows at LAPD.
Who knows what goes on down there?
Yeah, I was told
make a phone call, Brent. Call LAPD and ask them if they call their cars shops.
I will, and then they'll be like, "You're an idiot." So, the last part of this question is, can you shoot car tires?
Well,
have you ever tried to?
Unless you're in the movies, no.
Right. Well, car tires don't blow up. That's what's one thing, right?
I think most agencies ban shooting in a moving vehicle unless life is in danger.
Well, I don't even know if 9mm goes through car tires.
Who uses 9mm still? Most people are 40s or 45s.
Everybody's going back to 9.
Really?
It is. It's pretty sad.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so I carried 40, and everybody's now going back to 9.
I did not hear that.
Yep. So you can't go back into law enforcement. Or like the guy that I was my training officer for a while that had a 6-inch 357.
Really?
And it was just like the coolest thing, because when he'd go into the call, everybody would just stop, because that barrel would go and like go through the door first. And it's like, never mind, I'm cool, Clint.
I have my brother that passed away that used to be a sheriff's deputy, and he's the founder of CopTalk. I still have 2 of his guns. One is a Beretta 9mm, and the other one is a stainless 357 Magnum. That thing, just the look, and it's a revolver, just the look of that thing would make you not do anything stupid.
Is it like a 2-inch barrel? You shoot it and the whole night turns into day?
Yeah, that thing, no, that thing's got the long barrel on it. It's a mean-looking gun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he carried that like early, right? Sheriff's Department time.
He actually carried that right up until he retired.
Really?
They issued him a 9mm, but he always carried that 357.
Yeah. That makes
with
2
the
guys.
speed loaders.
Oh, yeah. Now you'd need like 40 speed loaders.
Right.
I actually did that for my revolver qualification this year. I had like 15 speed loaders loaded because I wanted to qualify for a revolver on our Leosa card. So I had, every time he's saying, okay, reload, got my speed loader pulling it out of my pocket, loading the revolver.
I only got 6 rounds.
Huh?
I only got 6 rounds. Thank God that's all they do for quals.
Everyone else is firing their 15 rounds on that certain thing, and Ed's doing 6 at a time.
Ed does 6 and then just goes bang.
It was a nostalgia thing anyway. It was like I hadn't qualified on a revolver since 1989.
It's awesome.
Well, Jim named his gun Big Larry, and I guess Big Larry was very intimidating to people.
Well, it's good. It keeps you out of having to be in a shooting if the gun scares somebody to death first. All right, so question 10. There's quite a bit to this one. So my ex-fiancé forced his way into my house on the 19th of June. I have been hiding away for a few days, but I'm scared. I don't know what to do. He strangled me, and I had to play dead to get him off of me. What can I do to stay safe? Of course, I did call the police, and I turned in his phone because he dropped it when he was there. Good move. What can they do if they have his phone? How do I stay safe? I'm tired of being afraid to leave my house or even stay there. I don't have the money to move. All I have is family, but how long until this is over? He threatened me before, but now he actually did it. He walked into my house with a gun and strangled me. What can I do? That is a tough deal.
I'm curious what the police did or said.
Right. Orders of protections are just piece of papers.
Well, it doesn't even look like they have a restraining order.
Right. Well, yeah, they call them OOPs down here, order of protection.
So get a restraining order.
It's not going to stop somebody from attacking you, but if you report every violation, they add up and they'll put a warrant out for his arrest.
Right. Well, so the answer would be is if that was to ever happen again, police immediately. But if it's a bunch of little BS stuff, document, get a restraining order, document, hopefully get this person locked up forever.
And they sound afraid, so I'd say call a domestic violence hotline. They might be able to provide housing or assistance. Keep your phone with you at all times and call 911 if any trouble, or see if a friend or roommate can move in with you. They said they had family, so maybe move in with family, or see if someone from your family can move in with you. Or get a big dog like a Rottweiler or a German Shepherd. Those are always great deterrents.
Yeah, but if they're living together, that could be a huge problem. Like all of this is a much bigger problem, right? Because then the husband would be in their, ex-fiance.
Well, it says ex-fiance forced his way in, so it doesn't sound like he's living with him.
Then double lock your doors and call the cops, right?
Yeah.
And don't let them in, like many people do. I'll be better this time. No, you won't.
Yeah, exactly.
You're never better.
And all it does is escalate and get worse each time.
Just all the false promises.
Yeah. And they never come true. All right. So we'll get one more in here. Question 11? Sure. If a bounty hunter gets the wrong address, and if you're not wanted for anything and they kick your door in, can you use the stand your ground law if they point their gun at you and you accidentally shoot one of them? What will happen to you? Well, I wouldn't use the word accidentally shoot ever.
I just was going to say that.
Yeah. So what's the story there?
Fearing for my life, an armed man. I had no idea what he was doing here.
Yeah. It's Psycho from the TV show. Knocked my door down, pointed a gun in my face.
Of course, they do that all the time now. They throw on similar looking vests like they're bounty hunters or cops. Police search warrant, open the door. Boom, they kick it, and there's only two guys there. You never do a search warrant with two guys.
And you never say police when you're not the freaking police.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, we've had a half a dozen of those down here in the last few months.
Who was the bounty hunter?
Wearing police uniforms.
Wasn't there a show? There was a show back in the day, right?
Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Oh, that's the one.
The old dog. That's right.
I guess it depends on what state you live in. If you're in California, the bounty hunter would own your house and you'd be in jail.
And Gavi would probably give him a Bronze Star.
Because didn't say where they are at, but entering the wrong house, a bounty hunter, can lead to criminal charges like breaking, entering, assault, false imprisonment. Like I said, it depends on the state you live in. States that have stand your ground laws, if someone kicks in your doors pointing a gun, you might be justified, but it's kind of a tricky situation. In general, bounty hunters are not required to knock and announce before making a forcible entry, unlike police officers who are executing a warrant.
They're not?
No, they're not. They're not bound to knock and announce. However, the legality of their entry and methods vary significantly by state and can be subject to strict limitations. Like California, of course, stricter everything. Bounty hunters must be licensed, wear identifying clothing, and notify local police before making an arrest. Forcible entry without proper notification can be illegal. Other states, they could just go kick your door down and not have to announce themselves.
That could be a bloody mess.
Yeah. Every state's different. Some of them actually ban bounty hunters from arresting fugitives and only police could do it. Other states like California, like I said, there's strict restrict. Basically, if they kick your door down and they point a gun at you and then you point a gun at them, I mean, who's going to shoot first? That could end badly.
Yeah. Especially if it's your home.
Right. But I can see the point. If you're sitting in bed and all of a sudden you hear your front door kicked open and someone comes in with a gun, I mean, what are you going to do? I think every state, they should have to announce themselves. If they kick in the door, I would assume even though they're not required to, they might say bounty hunter just to keep themselves from getting shot.
Yeah.
I hope so anyway.
I would hope they'd apologize.
And write them a warning ticket. Yeah. I'm sorry I kicked the wrong warning ticket.
Sorry about the door. Yeah, your dog got out and bummer. Yeah, sorry.
Give him a gift card to Home Depot to fix the door hinges.
Sorry. I mean, I've definitely been on stuff where the wrong door got kicked, but usually there's plenty of people there to handle that. So do we want to do a couple others or do we want to do some in the news?
I think there was only one more question, which kind of looked like an easy one.
Window tint or insanely long question that might not have any good answers?
Probably the window tint.
Okay, let's do the window tint. Okay. I got my front door windows tinted to 35% recently. They were a graduation gift. Right now, the legal tint for front door windows is 50%. In August, though, the law will change to 35%. What do I do if I get pulled over? It was a gift, so it had to happen when it happened. I wanted it to be 35% because that's what the new law will be. It will only be illegal to drive with for 1 month, but what do I say if I get pulled over? The front window, however, is tinted the legal limit. Wow, this is a lot of words. So, yeah, I mean, I know what California laws are, but I can tell you that out here, at least for the last 5 years, window tint has not been enforced.
No, not at all. When I was working traffic, if you could even see a tint on a window, you could pull them over and ticket them.
Right.
But like you said, Brent, I mean, there's cars driving around that are like blacked out, and unless the back window is tinted red or blue, it just really isn't enforced anymore. Almost everybody has tinted windows out here.
Well, and like I have a SUV, right? So back windows I've tinted really dark because totally legal to do that. But that darkens up your fronts, right? So if you're looking through the vehicle, it looks like everything's tinted out, but it's really not. But I've seen people tint the front windshield.
Right.
So
right.
like, really? Like, can you see anything out of that? That's something they would do in Arizona.
And that was one thing that
I've had tinted windshields. They work pretty good.
Really? That's totally.
I mean,
I think you can only do.
Still see the same, but it keeps your dashboard from burning up and anything else you set on up there.
Well, and now I think here you can only do 4 inches at the top of the window, but now I've seen like almost clear ceramic-based tints for cutting back UV. So that's kind of cool. So
we got that on one of our cars. It's legal, but it cuts out the UV rays.
Yep. And I know a lot of fire departments do it to keep heat out. So like if the guys are out doing like wildland fires and stuff like that and they need to recoup, they can go in there and it's way cooler in the trucks that way.
Yeah, you really can't tell it's tinted, but it really helps with the heat and everything.
For sure.
But I'd say this person has nothing to worry about, especially if it's just a month. I mean, it's going to be legal, I doubt. Unless you really piss a cop off, I don't think they're going to do anything.
One, I think like we try to tell everybody all the time, if you're not making yourself a target for having a conversation with your local law enforcement, most of the time, these things just aren't a problem. Once you do that, though, gloves are off. You'll find window tint and hubcaps and you name it. We used to write.
Everything gets written up.
Yeah, we used to write all of that kind of stuff. Lowered car, this, wrong. I mean, I carried a tape measure. So it's like, if you really want to go there, I'm cool. I'm good at this. So we can do this. But like, why? Just drive like not like a jerk. Don't be a jerk. There's your CopTalk, way to live. What's in the news? I'll insert it later, but now that you did it, I don't have to insert anything.
Oh, okay. I'd rather have you do one.
Yeah, no, I'm going to leave.
Cut mine out and you put one in.
Sorry, it's good to be the producer.
All right. In the news, desperate Kansas man arrested for stealing 800-pound cannon from a Spanish-American war to settle a drug debt. A low-level drug dealer stole an 800-pound cannon that was used in the Spanish-American War from a Kansas park to settle a debt with his deranged boss, who was threatening to murder him and his family. Gordon Pierce, 38, was arrested after the 1794 cannon went missing from its podium in a Wichita park and was later discovered chopped into pieces. He told investigators he was a meth user of 20 years and owed his dealer $20,000 after the pound of meth he was supposed to sell was reportedly stolen. He said his dealer threatened to shoot him and his family if he didn't come up with the cash. To repay the debt, he planned to sell copper from statues made of material he could steal. He recruited a homeless man to help him with his plan by bribing him with drugs and a pipe. Now, what could go wrong there? The two men got high on meth before trying to use their own muscle to lift the 800-pound cannon into his truck, but it was too heavy. Next, they hooked up a chain attached to the truck so they could tow it, except when he began dragging the cannon through the streets, the chain snapped in front of an automotive shop. He abandoned the cannon there and fled to a friend's house and acquired a new chain. They used the new chain to drag it to
that is dedication.
It is. They used the new chain to drag it to his friend's house, where he hid it in his garage. Inside the garage, he chopped it into 5 hunks and took some of the parts to the drug dealer in the hopes it would settle his debt and save his family's life. But the drug dealer was irate, told him he was going to bring the heat to his house, and yelled for him to get out, and he was going to shoot him in the head next time he saw him. Since he didn't have an ID required to sell scrap metal, he had no real plan for pawning the 800-pound historical artifact. He went to his mother, confessed, and fell asleep. When he woke up, the cops were there to arrest him. Officials from the Park and Recreation estimated the cannon's worth more than $100,000, and he caused $10,000 worth of damage to the granite pedestal.
Wow.
Yeah. That's crazy. And then, any comments from you guys?
Thankfully not hiring right now. So that
found a young, an older lad there in North Carolina, got married to 3 different women, and he finally got arrested. Harry, his name was Harry Irvine Burdick, done married him 3 women's, and he got arrested there in April, or got investigated in April. In the end of the article, the sheriff's office said they believe there could be additional victims. This guy ain't exactly the handsome hunk you'd like to think he is. If you or someone you know has been legally married to Burdick, you're asked to call Detective so-and-so at the so-and-so county sheriff's office.
Isn't that legal in some areas?
What's that?
Isn't that legal in some areas?
Well, I don't know about, it says apparently not North Carolina in the 3 counties he did this in. But up yonder there in Utah, I think it is. But who the hell would want more than one wife? You know?
Yeah. Or one husband.
I can't imagine that.
South Carolina man killed by shotgun booby trap allegedly set up by a family member. A South Carolina man was shot and killed after he accidentally set off a shotgun booby trap last Monday that was allegedly built by a family member. Jordan Dove, 34, was gravely wounded after he was struck by a shotgun blast after arriving at his incarcerated uncle's vacant home in St. Matthews, South Carolina. According to the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office, he was transported to a nearby hospital but eventually succumbed to his injury. Perimeter was set around the house as deputies slowly made entry, where they encountered a shotgun that was rigged at the back door to go off once anyone attempted to gain entry. A further sweep of the residence showed the front door was barricaded shut with no other occupants inside. They're working to pin murder charges on Alfonso Brown, the owner of the house, and Dove's uncle, who is currently behind bars in Maryland for unrelated non-fatal shooting in January. The sheriff's department believes that the house was booby-trapped with the intent of harming law enforcement officers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Karma.
You imagine your relative goes to your house and opens the door and boom.
Blows their leg off.
I bought a bunch of those 12-gauge perimeter alarms for my property up in Nevada, but thankfully I never got a chance to hook them up. That's where people cross the line and trip it. Huh?
There's a lot of marijuana farms, illegal grows up in the hills. You used to have booby traps like that.
Still
do.
Especially
Northern California.
Yeah, yep.
And full automatic weapons that are there.
Right. Yeah. An old childhood friend of mine used to do that for a living, rip off those farms. And he said more than one time he's had rounds flinging past him as he's running through the woods getting out of there.
So he doesn't want to take the time to do the work and to put in the effort of growing it all, and doing that just goes and rips the place off.
Exactly.
That's brilliant.
He was one of the rip-off. And apparently quite a few of those farms up there in Humboldt County were familiar with him. When they'd see him, he'd have to turn around and hightail it out of town.
Yeah, back, I think it was, I don't know if it was 10 or 15 years ago, the county with the most portable generators was Humboldt, because there's no power out there for all that stuff. So they would rent generators, take them out to the farms, use the power on the diesel generators out there, and then do all that, like grow lights and all sorts of crazy stuff.
Pumps from the streams and everything, yeah. Well, there's 3 more headlines. I'm not going to go into the story, but I'll let you use your imagination. Florida man dressed in Dalmatian onesie outruns troopers with one handcuff on, shakes off tasers before he was later caught at his girlfriend's home. Teen burglar foiled after leaving behind trail of dog poop footprints. And then Florida woman carrying a tote that read, "Definitely not a bag full of drugs," was arrested for trafficking meth after meth, needles, Narcan, digital scales, small baggies, cut straws, and other items were found in the bag.
The bag that said it wasn't full, it was definitely not a bag full of drugs.
Don't look in here, I might as well said.
Yeah, please don't look in my not bag of drugs. Yeah,
and no more headlines, but something I thought was funny. I saw a meme which showed an attractive female police officer standing in front of a guy, and she's telling him, "Anything you say can or will be held against you." And he said, "Boobs." It's actually a pretty good answer.
And now you're under arrest. Thank you. Have a nice day. And then I guess to end on the one thing that we keep seeing the trend of, which apparently happened in your neck of the woods, Ed, is after Arizona officers arrested the Grubhub delivery guy, they ended up delivering the pizza and the other stuff to the person's house. Right. So I mean, you can't say cops are all bad, right?
No, but I'm sure the pizza wasn't very hot by the time we got there.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
It's better than not getting it at all, I guess.
True. You can always throw it in the microwave.
Ed's got this all plotted out. That's how we get Grubhub drivers. Be like, I know he's dirty.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will. I guess that's it for today. We will definitely get this posted up, and send in your questions. You can go to our website, coptalk.info. Just follow the links to the Ask a Cop a Question, and you can ask us whatever questions come to mind. Make them interesting. Make them whatever. Don't put your name if you don't want it read. All the normal rules apply. We like getting your questions. We're getting a ton of them, so just keep them coming.
Anything else you might want us to talk about too? Give some suggestions there. And again, please, if you submit a question, at least put what state or area you're in. We can narrow down the answers a little bit, because a lot of these answers vary, from city to state. So we can narrow it down a bit. Tell us where you're at.
And in the future, we might have some special guests on. So if there's special topics that, we want to dig more into, we can dedicate a show to some of those more specialty topics that are just something that requires a little bit more than 5 minutes of us, answering your simple questions. So we'll be looking for all that. And with that, I think we're good for today.
All right. Thanks for listening, and stay safe.
Bye, Ed.
Goodbye.
He's not even there anymore.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Just listening.
Let's say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.